Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. So, interesting week, huh? A little bit of everything, a little bit of all over the place. Always some controversy that surrounds CMON whenever they launch one of their campaigns. You have people complaining on both sides of the aisle no matter what, and can't keep anyone happy from that side of things regardless. But we're not talking about that now. We're talking about the upcoming games that are launching next week, and it's a relatively good collection. But I'll have you know, the first week of February is actually even more. So January might fade off a little bit, but February is going to pick it right back up. So, what do you need to know? And what should be on your radar for next week before February rolls in? Let's do this. We're going to start off with two that we talked about last week because they're launching the day of this video. First up is Ostia, Japanese board game designer. I'm not going to mess up the name, but this is the same person that made Aqua Garden. So if you liked Aqua Garden and how you moved around in that game to build your aquarium, you might like Ostia as well. This is a Mancala based game. You are going around the harbor, if you will, building buildings, moving your ships, constructing along the way in order to maximize along the way when you're building. The interesting Mancala mechanism is you're taking the ships here, you are producing the resources that are at this location, then you're grabbing these ships, moving them all around one by one, and then producing at the endpoint. And you taking the actions at the endpoint. You're producing based on the number of ships that are in the location that you are starting with in the first place. And again, it's looking like, I believe he said on Twitter, the production price point is going to be $63 for the base game and $74 for the base game with an expansion. And it's about 10, 12, 15 bucks right in there for shipping. And I believe they're offering Aqua Garden as well. So if you missed Aqua Garden the first time around, you can perhaps get a copy included in your pledge there. So I'm pretty excited about this game. I really want to like this game. I'm going to be tempted. The price is a little higher than I was hoping, but definitely picking up Aqua Garden even from the designer's store right now is going to cost you more than it did during the Aqua Garden Kickstarter campaign. So again, with all these Japanese indie designers, sometimes you can't even pick them up on the secondary market from whoever, wherever, and it's always going to be more. So just FYI. The other game that is launching today is White Hat. White Hat is a re-implementation of a game called Black Hat, where you are a hacker. You are trying to get further and further into a network mainframe system in order to get the critical, sensitive information, and you're doing it through the use of trick taking. But there's a twist on the trick taking because the space that you are on for the board itself has points, and so that may alter your play in terms of what you're actually doing on a turn-by-turn, trick-by-trick, card-by-card laying basis. Now, it looks like based on these cards, there's going to be some asymmetric powers or abilities or something else to go along with the tricks in the first place. I have no idea, but if you're a trick-taking fan of liking something a little bit extra, check this out when it launches also on the 22nd. Now, the main course beginning next week, starting with my personal pick of the week, the one I am most hyped for in the month of January, and that's Astro Knights from Indie Board and Cards. Because this is a supposed re-implementation, a streamlined but different version of Aeon's End, one of my favorite games in my collection. I'm not sure I like necessarily the theme as much as Aeon's End. They've gone with more of a space knight sort of theme, but that's okay if the gameplay holds up. Now, they say there's going to be fuel, tech, and weapons that you're going to be able to upgrade your character, sort of different than Aeon's End, where your mage essentially just stays with their one ability, and the deck you're building is upgradable. So if they've implemented character upgrade along with the deck building aspect, it could be very intriguing. Does it overcomplicate while streamlining? I have no idea. I have not seen any gameplay. I have not heard too much about it yet, but I imagine there will be a plethora of videos when it launches. Again, it's going to be an interesting test. Do you need both? That's the big question. Is the re-implementation going to be better? Is it going to make the old one obsolete? I mean, you hope not. But, I mean, that's sort of the way some of these games have made me feel lately in the last year or two on Kickstarter. I'm looking at you, specifically Kingdom Rush and that ilk. And just Marvel X-Men United. That was a better implementation of Marvel United. So it'll be really interesting to see what the price point is going to be, as well as just all of those aspects that I just mentioned. So I have it as my number one game for month of January, period. Now, this next one I know is a high one on a lot of other people's lists. for various reasons, because this is a reprint, a redeluxification, a master set of the classic La Granja. I know next to nothing about this game, but this is a dice worker placement where apparently you're also able to use the cards as extensions of your board in certain areas, whether it is the farm, the field, or even the market, in order to give you different ways of producing your resources, managing your farm in general, and trying to do the best of managing this all around a small pond, which is the theme of the game in the first place. So Euro lovers, eat your heart out with this theme one. Yes! Not a ton of details on Board Game Geek, but with a deluxe mastering, you are apparently getting never before seen content modules. Modules designed by the original designers, but also modules designed by some other big names on the Euro side, including Stefan Feld. I don't know any of these other ones. I'm sure most of you do, though. But the thing is, there's going to be promo cards. There's going to be modular expansion here, additional expansion modules here, new artwork, multi-designed layer player boards, and, of course, everyone's favorite, and you can never not have a deluxe Euro without them, metal coins, baby. Cha-ching! There we go. So, again, what's the price point going to be on something like this? The deluxe Euros are ranging anywhere from about 80 to 110. So maybe that's going to be the over-under this week, is what do you think the pledge level is actually going to be when this launches? Because I find that these are a dime a dozen in terms of, I'm not surprised when one is 80 and one is 110, and I can't really tell you the reason. So anyway, but that is launching on the 24th. A relaunch on the 25th is Jiangnan, Life of Gentry. You are trying to curate literary arts in the Ming Dynasty. Worker placement, action tile building, anybody? Again, I think this was one that suffered more with the first campaign of a price point issue and expectations from that, rather than, again, sort of like the just recently relaunched and funded collab, which, again, the design elements seem to be very, very solid, but that seems to be the biggest catching point nowadays for people on terms of what funds and what doesn't. And so it will be really interesting to see how this does in comparison. They've really been active behind the scenes. I know they've been putting out a lot of designer diaries. I know they've been putting out emails and forums on what do you guys want to see in terms of interaction, in terms of what would you rather have in terms of stretch goals and upgrades, like trying to get more feedback. So it's really positive to see that. They reached out to me just to take a look at their Kickstarter page. So, I mean, it seems like they're really doing their due diligence in terms of, you know, market, assessing what the market actually wants, not just saying, we're going to bring this to you and you're going to want this. What do you want? Let us tailor it a little bit more to that side of things. I can't speak to the mechanisms necessarily on this, but I'll leave that to other people who are more experienced from the Euro or the worker placement side of things. Speaking of relaunches, since we're talking about them and doing them now, next up is Thunder Road Vendetta, and we actually have artwork to go along with it this time. This is relaunching from Restoration Games, and this had a super high funding goal. I think it was like 200,000 or 300,000, 250, somewhere right in there the first time. And what was being offered was, again, based on the pledge levels that were there, not viewed as things that people wanted. And so again, what is going to be revamped? Again, I'm not a big racing fan. Racing games really don't do it for me. They're offering more on this revisionist version of this 1986 classic, as they say, in terms of more oil hazards, in terms of more hazards, oil spills, things like that are going to be allowing more interaction on the racetrack. There's just going to be a lot more different actions that you can take, apparently. Repairing, boosting your car with nitro, or, in case this picture wasn't enough right there, you can send out your attack copter, right? Who didn't want to send out their attack copter in a game? Things I'd be talking about in 2022. Well, there you go. Holy hyperspace Kraken. Yeah, I didn't forget. And actually, I was wrong. I just looked at the Kickstarter page, and they were actually shooting for 500,000, and they raised almost 3, which again is pretty killer. But they're going with more of a true funding goal, which again, you know, I never disparage on people for going for a true funding goal and not getting it, because I like the transparency. I don't always agree with it from a personal side of things, because I know what comes with the Kickstarter hype and that, which I hate at times. But I give them a lot of kudos for just putting that up there and saying, here we go. Same thing with Iridia. Iridia wasn't for me. Thunder Road Vendetta, it's not going to be for me. But you know what? I will support them and I will help them as much as I can because I like seeing this level of transparency. I like it. I like it a lot. And they actually talk about it here on the forums of differences that you will see in this game. And one of them, in order to speed up the downtime between the games, is you're going to be rolling dice between turns and then picking one of your dice to put in your car and to move. Bigger cars, as the second difference, is not meaning better. So they've gotten rid of some of the swinginess and they've made it a little bit more balanced from that aspect. And we made cars harder to wreck and easier to repair. New things, again, like I talked about, the chopper attack, nitro boost, new terrain, new hazards, and a lot of chaotic mayhem. Like, this is a game I would be happy to play, but I have no inkling to own it either in my collection. So I think it's interesting to see, again, what are they going to do with the funding goal? And then are they going to have different pledge levels? Because I think that was the other issue. $50 here for the base game, $60 for the brick and mortar, and $145. So, I mean, that's a big jump, too. Almost $100 between pledge level gaps. Restoration Games has been putting out solid stuff. Return to Dark Tower is really hitting the hype right now. People are liking it. So, is this going to ride the coattails of that? We'll see when it launches on the 25th. On the 25th, we also have more of a war game, Purple Haze. Yes, I cover those occasionally, too. They label it part story creation, part campaign, part tactical game, where you are being dropped back into 1967 as Marines into Vietnam. Apart from that, no idea. But you can check out these blown up images and see that it looks like there's a fair amount of stuff going on. And again, like with a lot of these games, trying to create some realism in terms of the mechanics and how things go along with the game. No idea otherwise, definitely outside of my ilk, but for all of you wargamers following me, no, there are tons. Can't even say that with a straight face. There you go, launching on the 25th. Also launching on the 25th is MayDay's next Crokinole Kickstarter with either rosewood or mahogany versions for $99 plus shipping. You can actually even check out the preview page that's up if you have any questions about what it's going to entail, what the specifications are, what all you're going to be getting. If I didn't have one, I mean, $99 is a good deal. I can't speak to the quality of these games. I mean, they're probably not going to be like super high tournament quality, but for 99 bucks, that's a lot cheaper than a lot of other Kickstarters for an awesome game in general. And rosewood kind of looks cool. Mahogany. Actually, no, you know what? We go with mahogany. Maybe I'll buy someone a mahogany one. Oh, and let's look at this very carefully, though. Early birds. Now, again, $750 is not a small amount. Also, you can get a carrying case, too. But there you go. I mean, if you've been on the market, not a bad price. But check it out. Next up from Little Rocket Games, in case you did not have enough animals launching in your games in 2022, we have hens. That's right, folks. We have hens. Again, sentences I did not think I would be saying in a video for 200, Alex. Rest in peace. Okay, so this is more of an abstract game, they say, where you're going to be sort of pattern building with cards as you lay them down one at a time on your turn. Now, you're trying to make larger groups of the same types of hens, but there are going to be, obviously, some restrictions in how you play them in the first place. You're trying to create the largest group of a group that you can. You're going to have a goal card as well, and it's just going to be an abstract card game, right? There you go. Rare hens give you bonus points at the end of the game, and that's about it. It's launching on the 25th, so check it out. Next up on the 26th is Finding Anastasia, which is more of a party-esque deduction-themed game with a very interesting theme at that. You are the Empress of Russia, and everyone else are your guests, and you are trying to deduce who is Anastasia among you. And it's going to be a combination of passing along clue cards, a centralized board where you're writing answers down in terms of deduction, in terms of trying to find and be the first person who figures out who Anastasia actually is. The price point was a lot higher, I think, than people thought on the first game. And again, I think that was the big issue of why it didn't fund, because it's doing something a little bit different with a combination of party and deduction. So if you're interested, You can see a little bit more here in the mock-up of the picture of what it's actually going to entail with the center board and the clues that each person has, and their own individual board of the questions and the types of things that they can ask in the first place. And if you want to know more, check it out when it launches. Next up is a second edition of a trick-taking game called Yokai Septet. It's a trick-taking game where it plays like a normal trick-taking game, except there are bosses, and you're trying to capture these bosses within the tricks, and whoever gets the most bosses wins. There's also a team mode that you can play, as well as a free-for-all 3-player version, and apparently it's sold out, so they are launching a second edition to help fund it. If you're interested, check it out when it launches on the 26th. So let's go back over to the main Kickstarter page here. Let's go through the over-unders. Now, one over-under last week, because I'm an idiot, is completely disqualified, and that was the one I did of Ostia. I said, Ostia, over-under. Duh, it's launching on the day this video is airing, so that's not really that fair. Good job, Liege. Genius Liege there. I'll come up with a better nickname later. Post-editing. I won't edit this out. What am I talking about? The only one that is just clearly head and shoulders above is Marvel United. I said over or under 3 million. I got that one right. Then we have Total Rome War, and then we have Skate Summer. Well, I'm totally missed on Skate Summer. Skate Summer is only at 29,000, so that is definitely the under. So take that for what you will. Now, going back up to Marvel Zombies, the Zombicide game, I also said the over-under on the Galactus miniature was going to be $130, and it is $170, even though you can't buy it separately. That is the price difference between those two pledges. I don't even need to pull it up because I've got it all memorized now. So that was also over. So, right there as well. So, number one, for this upcoming week, which funds more? La Granja or Thunder Road Vendetta? Which one is going to get more? More funds. We'll do Ostia as number 2. Personally, I think it's going to be Thunder Road Vendetta. Ostia, number 2. In a week, we'll put the over-under at 75,000. I'm also going to go over on that one. How many expansions, not including Galactus, does CMON announce because they're lagging in the stretch goals now? As I predicted, check out my other video. I called it. I said, what are they going to do when the stretch goals get too stretched out? Because they were too overambitious on the first day. Now we're throwing them in every halves. Anyway, how many expansions have they announced in a week? I'm going to put the over-under at 2.5. I'm going to make this hard. 2.5. So are they going to have more or less expansions announced? I'm actually probably going to go the under on that one. I think there's only going to be 2 other expansions announced. And we are counting gameplay and non-gameplay here. So gameplay and non-gameplay, whatever it is, I'm putting the disclaimer out there for prop bet number 3. Prop bet number 4, we're going to go to the Dice Tower, because the Dice Tower, by the time this airs, will have less than a week left. So we're going to put the over-under on how much funding support the Dice Tower gets at, we'll say, 360,000. You know, I chose instead of 350. I don't know. I just chose something different. $360,000 over or under. I'm going to go under on that one as well. And last but not least, we'll go back to Viscounts with the expansions. It will be also done funding by then. We'll put the over under on Viscounts at, let's say, 575,000. And I am going to go with the over on that one. So there you go. Those are the prop bets this week. I don't remember to have to do them in a hurried rush at the beginning of next week. And so my votes are all out there in terms of what I'm picking in the first place. Easy peasy, right? Maybe. Liege is pretty good at picking these though. So referring to myself in third person now is also slightly weird and slightly endearing at the same time. So where are things at now? Final ramble, a little off-topic video conversation. TV time. Still watching a couple foreign shows. What did I watch this week? I finished up Yellow Jackets, which is not a foreign show. Good job, good lead in there. Spoilers, like if you haven't seen Yellow Jackets, it's a survival-esque show where this girls' soccer team in high school is going to like the national championships and their plane crashes and they survive out in the wilderness for 1.5 years, but there are some horror-esque themes to it, and it splits between them out there in the wilderness and them 25 years later. And it's slowly filling in the gaps. My only hope is it doesn't become another one of those, like, Losts or Pretty Little Liars or something along those lines, where clearly after like a season or two they didn't write anything in advance and they just totally spitballed and it just doesn't all work and all of the strings just get all, bleh. And I just really hope that doesn't happen, because it's a relatively entertaining show otherwise. I finished the Japanese series on Netflix called The Journalist. Hands down, one of the best shows I will probably watch all of 2022. So if you can stand subtitles at all, it's 6 episodes. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It is very realistic, scarily realistic in terms of what happens with a financial scandal and the ramifications from an everyday person's standpoint, a journalist who is covering it, and inner workings of what the government can do and does in these situations to control it. Fantastic show. Cannot emphasize that enough. What else? I finished Archer, the latest Archer season, with all of the episodes that are out from that one. Again, it was sort of picking steam up. Evil Barry at the end there. Cyborg Barry. Very good character to have interspersed throughout. And then I need to go catch up on Demon Slayer, the anime. I need to go catch up on that. I'm a few episodes behind now. So not really a whole lot else getting into. I think I'm finally just going to watch The Wheel of Time separately. I don't think my wife has even shown any interest in it since then. And so I'll probably just watch it, in the next couple weeks by myself. I'm okay with that. I'm a big fan of the source material in the first place, so I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about the show. But we'll get there. That's about it. Otherwise, I don't have a whole lot. I've been playing a lot of new games. I have a sneaking suspicion here. I may announce in the next week or so that I may try, spoilers here for you guys who made it this far in the video, not very many of you, all 16 of you, that I am going to be maybe trying to play through my whole collection in 2021. I have played, now again, not all new games in my collection this month, but I've already played 17 new games this month. Between Kickstarter previews or Kickstarter prototypes, previews, I'm not getting paid, disclaimer. And just games from my collection. I mean, I just played this. Review coming out shortly from that. I just played this for the first time. Holy crap, is this amazing. I know people had ranted and raved about it, and it's divisive, but I liked it. And a couple other things along those lines. The top secret Kickstarter launching maybe next month that I will hopefully have a copy of here in the next 2 weeks. And I don't know, just a couple other smaller things going through the collection. Maybe another shelf video coming up soon too. Again, don't be fooled by my weird thumbnails. The Exceed thumbnail, for example, I went a little off kilter there. It's only got 300 views anyway. But Exceed, one of the best games of 2021 for me. Speaking of that, I have not actually filmed my best of 2021. My best of 2021 yet. So I should probably do that. Everyone else has already got theirs out now. Half of them had it out in November. Half of them had it out in the first week of January. And here I am, third week of January, kind of going, oh, crap, I need to go do that. So I'll get there. Maybe next week. Yeah, maybe next Thursday. That's a good day for it. Thursdays are good days for, I don't know, whatever. I'm making that stuff up. That's all I got. Ramble over. Rant over. I got nothing else. Maybe I'll go play some Pokemon Shield. My kids are obsessed with that one right now. So we just got Mario Maker 2 from the library. And the learning curve on that one, I think it's a little overwhelming for my 7-year-old right now. And he has a little bit of a low boiling point in terms of getting frustrated and just, I'm done with this. So hopefully the learning curve will get a little better and he'll get a little more used to it, because that was the number one game on his wish list. So now that he's getting to try it out, I hope his wishes and fantasies aren't dashed too much and that he can pick it up a little quicker. So we'll see. That's everything. Have a great Saturday. I'm working. Peace out. Stay classy. Have a great weekend regardless.